the legacy of the Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg automobiles. For a small company that over the course of its history, from beginning to the end, didn't even produce, all told, 200,000 cars, has had a tremendous impact on the field of automobile engineering and design.
When we think of the Roaring 20s, we think of an era in this country where people were happy and celebrating and moonshine, and there was all kinds of things going on in cabarets. And we look at Art Deco architecture and Art Deco design and everything from lamps to cars. This was an era, and these cars depict that era.
These ACD cars make a statement, and the statement is, hey, we're not a common thing. We're really special. And I think they were really special back in the 30s when they were made. And they continue to be special for me.
Auburn, Cord, Duesenberg. Three of the most innovative and striking automobile marques ever made in America. In the first 4 decades of the 20th century, these cars emerged not out of the mass factories of Detroit and Ohio, but a rural town in northeast Indiana. These days, it's a small town. Most of the year a sleepy town, but each Labor Day weekend, thousands of enthusiasts return there to celebrate, recall, and preserve its story. Welcome to Auburn, home of the classics. In the years since production ceased, 3 major organizations have arisen to maintain the legacy of these beautiful machines: the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Club, the ACD Festival, and the Auburn Cord Duesenberg Museum.
The club is just a group of people got together originally in 1952 for the preservation and restoration of the Auburn's, Cords, and Duesenbergs. The museum is basically the same thing for the preservation of the Auburn's, Cords, and Duesenbergs. And the festival, that was originally started to really raise money for the museum.
As much as the annual festival emphasizes education and awareness, the larger issue at hand is not as evident to many tourists. Physical preservation is often the major concern among ACD owners.
A lot of these cars are going out of the hands of the little enthusiast, the individual who loved and cherished this car and maybe even restored it himself.
You lose one guy that's been in the club for 40 years and you've lost 40 years of stories, you've lost 40 years of just general information that goes away. And if people like me, the younger generation, aren't coming into this club, there's nothing to fuel it, there's nothing to keep it alive.
Before the first car rolled off the assembly line, before motors roared with carefree power, before dignitaries, royalty, and movie stars brought prestige with their association, the American desire to travel has been central to the essence of Auburn. In 1874, carriage maker Charles Eckert founded the Eckert Carriage Company there. That company flourished, and as the age of the automobile began, 2 of Charles' sons, Frank and Morris, founded the Auburn Automobile Company in 1900. They unveiled their first product at the 1903 Chicago Auto Show.
They hand-constructed this car. It was what they called an assembled vehicle. It wasn't a very large car. It was a single-cylinder motor. What's amazing is that they actually bought all these pieces and assembled them in the back of the carriage company.
Well, the first Auburn automobile, actually, when it was introduced in 1903, was quite modern for its time. Many cars at that time were using tiller bars for steering. The Auburn had a steering wheel. Many of the early cars used high wheels, similar to those used on horse-drawn carriages. The Auburn used pneumatic tires. So the Auburn automobile at the time was quite innovative.
The company grew steadily for a decade, but World War I metal shortages forced production at Auburn Automobile to decrease drastically, and in 1915, the Eckerts put the company up for sale. Luckily, a group of enterprising investors out of Chicago had been looking for a way to break into the budding auto industry, and in June of 1919, they negotiated the transfer of assets with Morris Eckert. Now, under new management, the Auburn Automobile Company reintroduced itself to the public with their deliberately sporty-looking Beauty 6 classification.